that gives your inner game a serious upgrade. Join internationally renowned mindset and performance expert, KATHRYN ORFORD.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome. Welcome back if you watched the podcast before. If this is your first one, oh my goodness, you are in for a treat. And if you're a return person, you're in for a treat. Today's guest is the definition of powerhouse. LaSonjia, or also known as LJ, LaSonjia Jack is a dynamic leader, executive coach, keynote speaker, philanthropist, sports team owner. I don't think she ever sleeps. And the proud NFL mum of her oldest son. And her journey is nothing short of extraordinary. After climbing the corporate ladder with brands like Microsoft, T-Mobile, and Cox Communications, she reinvented herself to help others unlock their full potential through the LJ way. Her philosophy for living, leading, and achieving at the highest level. But LJ doesn't just talk about building legacies, she lives it. So in 2023, she and her son Myles made history as the first Black majority owners of a professional hockey team, the Allen Americans, while continuing to inspire change through scholarships, community initiatives, and breaking barriers in sports leadership. And if that wasn't enough, she's also the proud mum of another elite athlete. Her youngest son now plays basketball for Fort Valley State University. We're going to dive into the mindset, the resilience, the rituals it took for him to compete at that level, and how LJ balances being both a coach and a mum while guiding her family's ever-growing sports legacy. So buckle up, because today we're going to be talking mindset, leadership, representation, and the power of turning visions, your visions, into a reality with the one and the only LaSonjia Jack. Welcome, LaSonjia.
Thank you so much, KATHRYN, for that wonderful introduction. I was like, wow, who is that person? The person who never sleeps.
Exactly. That's what it sounded like to me. You're looking mighty fine for someone that never sleeps.
Yeah, you know what? Got to take care of self. So I find a way, but excited to be here and excited to, share a little bit of my story.
Awesome. So you have the LJ Way philosophy. The LJ Way is your signature philosophy for unlocking potential. What inspired you to create it? And what's the biggest transformation you've seen it create for others?
Great question. Well, first of all, the LJ way was kind of started by my kids. We would ask them to, do things around the house or get your homework done or get ready for, their sports activity. And they would go, oh, wow, we got to do it the LJ way. So I said, well, as long as the LJ way is working, we're going to keep doing it, boys. So that's what inspired me to start it. My friends in the workplace call me LJ, and it's a term of endearment. And so when I thought about the LJ way, I said, what inspires me each day with all the things that are going on, being a mom, being a businesswoman, I call it a friend, a sister, a confidant. I need something that kind of resonates. So I write everything down and I start writing down different ways that I attack the world every day. So first of all, I wake up every day like it's Christmas. It's a Christmas present. And what I mean by that is we have stuff to do. Mm-hmm. You should be inspired to not only be better for yourself, but also inspire others to be better as well. So I took the concept of the LJ way and I used it as I mentored individuals that I worked with in my workplace. So if you start back at AT&T, T-Mobile, Cox Communications, in my mentoring of people, I start what I call using my LJ way formula. And with all the feedback that I was receiving was very positive. People stopped and took a look at their lives in a different way. And I use my real world examples to inspire them that it's not just you, it's me too, that have gone through certain situations or need to make a change. And by putting that all together, COVID happened. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put it in a book. So I'm going to tell my story. So that's how the LJ Way was kind of formed.
Got you. Got you. Now, you've lived an extraordinary journey, but you didn't start this way. You've built it into corporate leadership, sports ownership. What were the mindset shifts that have made the greatest difference in your life from how you grew up to where you're at now?
I would say the first thing is that we have to have self-determination. We have to believe that we belong. So growing up, going to school, and I'm talking about high school, then college, I was confident but not self-assured in my abilities or what did I want to do in life? Where did I want to go? Where did I want to live? Where do I want to work? And at some point, it was a job that I had. I was doing very well on the job in college. And the lady who was a supervisor came over to me and she said, LaSonjia, you're doing a really great job. What would you like to do past this job? And I couldn't answer. I didn't know. So at that time, I said, you know what? I need to research. And if you remember, KATHRYN, we used to have the newspapers, the help wanted section. Yes, I would go get the Sunday paper and I would read all the jobs and what the qualifications were and what people needed to do for specific jobs. And I decided in myself that I was going to learn those skills on the job. So I just stopped, took a time out and decided that I wanted more and I was going to do something different.
And to think like that, though.
I would say more of watching what great looks like. So we realize we do have great people around us. There's people, I'm going to use my grandmother as an example, who's passed away, but she was very good cook. She was an excellent cook, very meticulous about how she put portions together, how she mixed things together. And what we don't realize is there are great people around us that we can emulate. So having someone that you can look up to, and then I'm going to say we have to have mentors. We have to within our business and definitely, KATHRYN, outside of our business. And here's the last thing. I don't want the yes person to say, oh, LJ, everything is great. That sounds wonderful. You need the person who's going to give you the tough answers that you are not looking for. They're going to set you straight.
Yep.
And I had a few of those people along the way. Yes. I had a great executive director that worked at AT&T, and he sat me down and he gave it to me straight. We're friends today. He does great things, and he knows who he is if he's watching this. Yes, but he probably doesn't even realize how much he's changed my life because I would ask questions, but he would give me real world examples of things that I needed to do to make myself more marketable in the workplace and also in my personal life as well too. So we need those great people around us. So for people who say, well, it's just me and I can do it all by myself. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've always, well, not always, but I've had mentors for about the last 30 years, I think. And it's the difference that makes the difference because I know I need to be accountable to start with. Do you know what I mean? I need someone to be saying, hey, you haven't achieved XYZ that you said you were going to achieve. So speaking of mentoring, let's shift gears into motherhood because your two boys have done extraordinary things. So earning a spot at UCLA, which was Myles, and then going on to the NFL. It's no small feat. So what were some of the pivotal mindset moments that Myles had to overcome along the way, and how did you support him during that journey?
Well, sports, and if anybody who is a sports mom, sports dad, sports uncle, first of all, it takes a lot of time. That's the number one thing. And what I mean is the practice, getting the uniforms, getting ready. Then you have to go to the games and you have to travel to the games and you have to travel home from the games. So I would say a number one thing in supporting both boys in their sports, and they play basketball, football, and track, is being there for them. Being a person, being a mom, but also being that person that informs them about back to what great looks like. My kids are a little bit special. They would watch great, sports players of all different kinds. So what I mean by that is you would say, what's your favorite team? And they said, we don't have a favorite team. We have favorite people. We watch people who do great things in sports, and that's what we want to be. So I help them resonate that idea by when we would go on vacations, I would take them by colleges so they could see what the college field looks like or the basketball court looks like. I would also give them information, and it's going to be funny because they probably don't even remember this. We used to have a computer at home, and I used to print out what great sports players were doing in their community or that they had great grades. And I would print them out and leave them on their bedside. In our house, we had books about sports and people who were great in sports, but not also just sports, but great in the community. So I say you have to feed your kids that information. Yeah, you can tell them, hey, this is great, but if you can actually show them, have them experience it, I call it feel it, touch it, live it. It makes a difference about how they see the world and how they go about being their great selves. So I talked about that all the time. You can be good, great, or extraordinary. So why not be extraordinary?
Mm, mm. Now, obviously, the road to the NFL, there were going to be twists and turns. How did you, like, so many mums say to me, I don't know what to say to my teenager on the ride home when they've lost the game or they've missed the winning shot or whatever. How did you approach all of that?
Oh, we had a lot of games where we got beat up too.
Yeah.
So it was a
So
lot. It
listen
was a
up,
lot of
parents.
yes, a lot of quiet ride homes. But we have a thing in our house with the Jacks to say the Jacks always do our best. So no matter what the score is. So I'm talking about middle school, high school, or NFL. No matter what the score, I ask you, did you do your best? Because no one knows that except you. And my
Yeah.
kids would answer, Mom, I gave it all I got, and we still lost 30-0. Then I
Yeah.
said, that's all you can do. Then you did your best. You did your job for today. And sometimes that does come in a loss from that standpoint, but it comes in a win because you did what you had to do to help the team and to, help the situation, even though as a team you may not have won. So that's the first thing. And the second piece to that is you can't win everything.
No,
But
exactly.
how you feel about it is most important. So we would talk about it. We would be positive. My kids are a little bit special. They watch film after they lose a game or win a game.
Mm.
And they try to figure out ways to get better, I'll tell this quick, tiny story. When Myles was deciding to go to UCLA, the UCLA team was in the championship at the time, a
Mhm.
bowl game, and they lost pretty bad. And my thought was, oh, he's going to pick UCLA, which we knew. And I thought he's going to change his mind because they lost. But guess what he said? They needed me.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
He said, Mom, they need me. So that's a different mindset than, wow, I'm not going to that losing team or that team didn't win or they made all these terrible things. He says, no, I think I could contribute more if I was there. So they need me. And that's where I'm going.
That's awesome. And when you were talking about it, really resonated for me because I had my daughter was a very talented athlete. And I, we used to talk about your personal best on one day might be different to your personal best the next day. But as long as you know you did your absolute best on that day, given those circumstances, given that opposing team
Mhm.
or whatever, that's the most important thing. And I think my dad, who we lived with for the last 6 years of his life, we had a self-contained apartment that he lived in, and he was a former Australian cycling champion. And what he instilled in my daughter was the Orford family don't give up, right?
See, and that's what we say. We say the Jacks, we just do our best. We
Yeah.
know we did our best. That's great.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
So how do you balance, because you still have, Jah'len is at college. How do you balance being a mum and a mindset mentor when your sons are chasing big dreams on such competitive stages? Like, what do you do? How do you support them?
In every way, if you only knew. And what I mean by that is still, I'm a good cook, so they like my food. So I'm still cooking meals on a regular basis, teriyaki turkey burgers or whatever else they need. But now they're adult young men. So we've transitioned to what I call a work mommy relationship. So when they call me and say, LJ, I got something for you, I know we're talking about business. So I go into what I call a business mode. Or if they call me, say, Mommy, I need to put season to put on the salmon, then I know I'm kind of in mommy mode. So I kind of transition between the two. But most importantly is listening. We are going to agree to disagree sometimes. And just because I have an opinion and they have opinion, our most important thing is that we listen to each other and we hear each other out. Our family is based, the underline is love, no matter what. So we're not perfect. God has given us these gifts and we're going to work together as a unit to do the things that, I call God has called us to do. But most importantly is being that support system. And yes, as a mom, there's some things that I just shake my head about, let me tell you. But I stay positive, I stay motivated, and I try to get them, to learn things on their own. They're pretty good about, guess what? This happened and I know you're going to be mad about it. And guess what I do? I zip my lip, I listen, and then I stay in mommy mode. And we talk about it and we work through it. And I let them know that tomorrow is going to be a better day. So we can get through this, we can get through anything. So just love them and love them till you can't love them no more.
I think that's where some parents make the mistake if they think that they have to become the coach. And I did a whole episode on stay in your lane, parents. You are not their coach. Like,
Mm-mm.
you're there to love and support them and encourage them and pick them up when they fall. Yeah. So to every young athlete, what is one championship principle that guided your sons? What would it be? What's a little gem that you could encourage young athletes out there with?
Don't ever stop. So let me explain that to you. My kids were the kids that pulled the local neighborhood kids together to play, football, pick up football or basketball in the backyard or down the street. And while other kids are, I'm going to say it, playing video games or just hanging out, they were working out. So
Mm,
at any given time, even today as young men, if they say, do you know where your kids are? My kids are in the gym. My kids love about health, about fitness, and it's not about working out. They'll call me and they say, "Oh yeah, I just spent time in the steam room today," or I just worked on my legs today. And what I mean by that is they never stop getting better. They didn't.
mm,
They always, even to this day, Myles has retired from the NFL, but he is still working out with his same regimen every
mm.
single day. They don't stop. And they haven't stopped watching what greatness look like. Because as they get older, there's new for these young athletes is you.
Mm.
We're ready, I should say, to watch you step into those shoes and take those leagues. There is a place for you in this world of sports. You have to believe it, get your body right, get your mind right, and lastly, the people who you're around. Make
Oh,
sure that you're around motivational people, people that challenge you to be your best and stay your best. So
yeah.
that's what I would say.
And it's like I always say, don't practice something till you get it right. Practice it till you can't get it wrong. Right?
Mm,
Have that absolutely internal feeling that I've got this because I just keep practicing and practicing. I was coaching a Division One basketball team over in Wagner College on Staten Island yesterday on Zoom. I get to go work with them in 3 weeks' time in person, and we were talking about this. And I said to them, "Girls, how many shots do you take every day? Forget what the coach is telling you to do, but what do you do?" And actually, I was working with St. Augustine's varsity boys team last night back in Australia as well. I love working with Brad's teams. He's a former dual Olympian. And I said to the guys, "Do you know how many shots Steph Curry takes every single day?" And they were going, "Oh, 100." I said, "No, 500, all different types of shots every single day of his
Mhm.
life." And it's like, I don't think that a lot of teenage athletes that aspire to getting these college scholarships actually understand the work ethic that they're going to need. They're going to do
Yes.
not what their mates are doing on video games and hanging out at the mall or doing things like that. They've got to really make a commitment to themselves that this is the goal, this is the vision, this is where I'm headed. And as you said, surround themselves with like-minded young people that are on the same path, because that's what's going to keep them going.
Yeah, and I tell a lot of parents, you can't want it more than they want it.
Oh
They
no.
have to decide in their hearts. I met plenty of parents. Oh, they need to do this, they need to do that, and they're getting frantic. I said, you can't want it more than they do.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have to follow their lead. Make sure you have the resources, available for them, but they have to want it. They have to live it, breathe it, and be ready for it.
And want it for them versus the parents living vicariously through their children because they didn't get the college scholarship, or they
Correct.
didn't do you know what I mean? They weren't opening five or whatever. And unfortunately, there are quite a few fathers in teams that my daughter's been in over the years, and I go, like, just let go and let your child enjoy the game and let them choose if they want to get more serious about it. it's
Right.
it's not, yeah, as parents, it's not our job
Correct.
to for our children to feel obligated to do something because we want them to do it. It's got to come from their heart, it's got to come from their passion. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I say, I get in trouble for this. Let your kids, when they're younger, play everything, and figure out what they love too. Because there's dads who want them to play basketball or play baseball, but I say let them play everything. My kids did a little baseball, track, football, and ended up with basketball and track and football and track. That's what they love. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
let them experience, and not only that, not just the sports, the camaraderie of work, with the other kids. They get to learn different kids and friends for life. My kids, they have friends from life from sports.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And my daughter was the same. She was a gifted athlete. She did netball, which is a game we play in Australia. She did netball, she did softball, she played tennis, she tried cheerleading, she did dance. And then she came home when she was in year three, and her teacher, Mrs. Mack, had played basketball. And she said, "Mum, I don't want to pass the ball. I want to bounce the ball." And I went, "Well, that's
Oh.
basketball, darling." And then off we went. So now, moving on to what you're doing right now. So you're breaking massive barriers in sports ownership, because in 2023, you and Myles, your oldest, who is
Mhm.
former NFL player, you made history as the first Black majority owners of the Allen Americans hockey team. That's like a milestone extraordinaire. How did that opportunity come about? And what does it mean for your family's sports legacy?
So, one of the things that I'm talking about moving forward is about the legacy. So, let's talk about this hockey team. So, I came from born and raised in Evanston, Illinois, very familiar with hockey. Ice skated, roller skate on the weekends, and all that snow up in Chicago. And so when Miles went to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a friend of ours, a great friend, said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in some sports ownership?" And it was just investment opportunities, nothing else besides that. Had opportunity to sit down, and we invested in the Jacksonville Icemen, the Savannah Ghost Pirates, the Tahoe Night Monsters, that's with Tim Tebow, and then the Charlotte Checkers, which is an AHL team right under an NHL team. And so, as Myles is looking for what comes next after football, so for those parents, you always have what comes next plan for your kids. We sat down and we said, hey, there's an opportunity on the table for us to be a co-majority owner and probably be the only African Americans of a hockey team. And we said absolutely yes. So for the last couple years, I've been working on operations with the team. And guess what? Now my son, Myles Jack, is fully running the Allen Americans located outside of Dallas, Texas. And let me tell you, KATHRYN, we are what we call an African American owners, but hockey is for everyone. Everyone loves hockey. We love hockey, and it's a great opportunity for any and everyone to get involved. And I tell kids, not only do you play sports, try owning them too. And as you see, a lot of celebrities, got hockey teams. They also have, pickleball teams now, softball teams, baseball teams, basketball teams. You see a lot of those people investing in those things. But I say you too can also be an investment or an owner of a team. So we're just very proud of this opportunity, and we need more people to come on and get some more teams.
What have you learned, and what has Myles learned about leadership and representation from stepping into such an uncharted space? Like you'd never done this before.
Never, and excited. But we said this, we have always had leadership within us. Okay. Him being a leader on the field, me being a leader in corporate America. So now you take a mom who have operational years of operational experience, leading teams, developing processes, and then you take a great NFL football player as Myles Jack being a two-way player in college, and you merge those two together. That's what leadership is. We are now responsible for not only the entertainment, which is absolutely outstanding, but we're responsible for jobs, operations, and the legacy of what this means to run this fabulous team. So it has taught us hard work pays off, and don't get ready, always be ready. Because if we take everything that we've learned thus far, it has prepared us for this moment. If you'd asked me, KATHRYN, 3 years ago, LJ, you're going to be a co-owner of a hockey team, I would have told you you were crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. It was not in my preview. So I tell people, blessings come in all different type of packages. And if you stay the course, you will be ready when the time is right.
I love what you said. Don't get ready, be ready. And it's
Mhm.
like, it reminds me of that quote that Oprah has, which there's no such thing as luck. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And it sounds like that's what happened, for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost like a perfect storm that happened, with the sports and operations for us to get the team together. But many of times, and it wasn't an easy job. So let me tell you, it wasn't that easy. But once we secure the team, it's also a self attribute as wow. I think about all the past things I've done in corporate America, negotiation, leadership, team building, pulling people together, researching. Well, it all came together at this moment. So
Yeah,
you have to
that's
go,
what I
I'm gonna pat myself on the back on this one. Now, didn't think about all that hard work over the years, but now it's like, wow, if I didn't go through some of those struggles,
mm,
learning opportunities, and more important, Catherine, failures.
yes.
Failure, because that's
We,
how you learn, failures.
exactly. You don't learn so much from the wins, you learn a lot
Nope.
more from the failures. Wow.
Yes, so, prepared us for this time.
Now let's do some lightning round questions for you. Okay.
Okay.
What is your go-to mantra before big moments?
Whew. LJ, it's about to be Christmas time right now. That's what
Oh,
I say. Before I walk in there, yes, it's going to be Christmas.
what about what's one non-negotiable habit that you believe separates champions from everybody else?
Oh, you got to write stuff down. I am an advocate. Even in my book, I talk about pen and a paper, please. You have to get some notebooks and you have to start writing stuff down. And you don't have to necessarily use a pen and paper. A lot of people use their computers and their phones. But in order for things to resonate, you have to start putting things down in structure. So that way you can focus on them.
And interestingly enough, there's definitely research to say that when we actually handwrite something, because I get all of my athletes and performers that I work with to write their script for it's written in the past tense as if it's already happened. And a lot of them, of course, young people want to just put it on their phone or whatever. So, no, no, no. You need to write it down because when we actually physically write it, it goes into our mind much better. So, that's, yeah. So, okay. So, a future trend in sports or leadership that actually excites you right now. What do you see coming up?
Oh, okay. So with hockey, next year is the Olympics. So if you know, 2 years ago, the Olympics was on TV. Well, starting next year, it's going to be all about hockey. So overseas in Milan in Italy. So excited about people now understanding more about hockey because hockey is like that love that people know. Have you ever been to a hockey game before, Catherine? Let me ask you that.
Not yet. And it's on my
Okay,
list.
see.
I said to a dear friend the other day, I said, I've been to see the Rockies play baseball, and I'm an absolute Denver Nuggets diehard fan. I've got quarter season tickets to that. I've got to get to see the Avalanche because I haven't been yet. I,
Okay,
I
so
slept
I'm
through
excited
none.
about that because it'll be everything hockey next year. So I'm excited. It will resonate more with people who haven't gone to a hockey game and want to go to a hockey game. So that's what I'm excited about next year. And I'm probably going to go overseas to see some games.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Now, you have this hockey team, you have the LJ way, you coach people, you've got these two amazing sons, and then you decide you're actually going to write a children's book. Tell us
Yes,
about tell us about the Dream Builders Clubhouse.
yes. So the LJ Way book was, stories, me growing up and things that have happened in my life. But the children's book is special because it talks about how to build a business. So I think it's important that at a young age that we should instill, and this is kind of the 7 to 10 year olds, about what it takes to build a business. So I have these great characters in this wonderful book and they're going to build a couple of really cool businesses. We talk about money. We talk about going to the bank and getting a debit card. We also talk about allowance. And we talk about the importance of teamwork and kids working together. So I am excited for this book to come out this year and give kids, I get an insight of some of the things that I used to do in my house around money. They thought it grew on trees for some reason, Catherine, but no, we have to earn that money. And where does it go? So I tell some great stories and some great fun, I would say, exercises for kids to do around money. Yes, it is November. Yes, it will be found on Amazon along with the LJ Way book.
Well, charity or awareness around breast cancer. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the last, I would say, 20 plus years, our family in particular has made sure that we stay focused on breast cancer. It resides on the maternal side of our family and on our paternal side of the family. So I had an opportunity to do my regular breast exam and did not get some very nice news that there was possibly some cells that could turn cancerous around breast cancer. And I decided that, wow, this was a pivotal moment in my life. something that I was not expecting from always doing regular checkups. But I also decided this is an opportunity for me now to be an advocate and speak out loudly to make sure that you go in and do your breast exams. Do them yourself, but make sure you make the appointments. And there's 3D imaging. That's how they caught it, because they can be able to see the differences over the 3D, the layers. And so I'm going to continue to make sure that I focus on educating people around the importance. Do not let it go. Our health is very important. And it's not just women, men as well too. So once I did my research, but I want to make sure that I stay focused on having that communication as I'm talking about my books and other things that are happening, that's an important part of my life. And I want other people to make sure that's an important part of their lives too. Regular health checks.
Awesome. Powerhouse is probably not a strong enough word, to be perfectly honest, but I would probably call you a warrior goddess somehow. But so if people would like to learn more about LJ and the LJ way and the Dream Builders Clubhouse, where can they go?
Thank you so much for that. They can go to LaSonjiaJack.com, and that's LASON Jack.com, and as well on Instagram. So that will be LaSonjiaJack03. But if you hit the website, we're going to have tons of information on there coming up. I am adding a section around breast cancer awareness, which I think it's absolutely important. And most importantly, it's time to change. So if you want to fuel your life, come do the LJ way, and we're going to make some new strides and do things a little bit differently. And hopefully it'll end up to be your way.
Awesome. And so the book comes out in November. You also speak on stages as well. So if people want to say, hey, I need to hear this woman on a stage, then they'll be able to just go to that website that we have on the screen right now, and they can have a chat to you and take it from there.
Absolutely. There is a contact us page. I am out speaking to what I call our young adults around sports leadership and also sports careers. I'm also speaking to our C-levels around leadership, and you do have a seat at the table, but what are you going to do when you get there? And then also making sure that we talk about our time. So another mantra that I always say is, we may not have a lot of resources, may not have a lot of people. Some people don't have a lot of money, but we can manage our time. So that's important to us. So that's what I want people to start focus on. How am I using my time? Day to day, week to week, hour to hour, because that is what's going to make a difference in your life. And you can start your legacy for your family, your children. I'll call it your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, or close people to you. What are you leaving behind? But your time will allow you to do that.
I've loved this interview. Honestly, LaSonjia, thank you so much for your time. I know viewers, just pop some comments below. What was your biggest takeaway? What was it about what LaSonjia said that has inspired you to do something differently? And honestly, write it down as
please.
Just keep it in your head.
Right.
There's something magical that happens when we get things out of our head and our heart and down onto paper. It's part of the whole, it's a universal law of manifesting. It's like we've got to get it out on paper for it to actually happen. It's not going to happen if it's just up here. So thank you so much. Please comment below, share this, subscribe, etc. And we will see you next week. If you would like to stay on, there's definitely going to be a code where you can download my Basketball Coach's Mindset Secrets. And guess what? It's not just for basketball, it's for life. So thank you again, Sonia.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching The Champion's Mindset with KATHRYN Orford. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week.